So mark your own, and I'll give you lots of hints about the test too. Oh, got to put my favorite student on here. Oh, am I going to have to pause already because someone just walked in late? Goodness gracious. Hang on a second. I have to pause the video. Express in scientific notation, 1 mark each. 5.5 times 10 to the 4th. 4.2 times 10 to the negative 2. 3.64 times 10 to the negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1.236 times 10 to the positive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that right? Yes? 1 mark for each of those. Hey, first question on your test is going to be something like this. In fact, I probably copied this, pasted it into the document, changed the numbers, and there's your question. Perform the following operations on your calculator, and it does say correct number of sig figs and answer in scientific notation. Okay. Multiplying and dividing, Ira, that's the easier one. How many sig figs? 2. How many sig figs? 2. How many sig figs am I going to go to in my answer? 2. 7.1, scientific notation button -4 times 3.6, scientific notation button -7. I'm going to go to 2 sig figs. I'm going to round off on that 5. Is that 5 going to stay a 5 or become a 6? Because there's a 5 next to it. So 2.6 times 10 to the -10. 3 sig figs, 2 sig figs. I'm going to round to 2 sig figs. 1.42, scientific notation button -5, divided by 4.3, scientific notation. And I get, how many sig figs did I say I was going to round off to? So I'm going to round off to there. Is the 3 going to stay? Oh, it's a 0. 3 is going to stay a 3. So in scientific notation, because that's what it wanted, it's going to be 3.3 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1 mark each. Number 3, 2 marks, adding. I can't, well, okay, that's a fib. It is possible to do even the scientific notation ones in your head. If you do a bunch of them, you'll spot some patterns and you can kind of track it. But for now, since this is a quiz, I'm going to write it out longhand. 6.0 is 0.0060. 3.5 times 10 to the negative 3. 3.5 times 10 to the negative 4 is 0.00035. It looks like my first guess is right there. So when I add these together, 0.0060 plus 0.00035, I get 0.00635. I get 0.00. Boy, have I done a lousy job of lining these up. 635. I said my first guess looks like it's the 5th decimal place, so I'm going to round off to the 4th decimal place. I'm going to round off to there. What's the 3 going to become? A 3 or a 4? So I'm going to get 0.0064. Final answer, 6.4 times 10 to the -3. For 2 marks, I'll give you 1 mark for the 6.4 and 1 mark for the 10 to the -3. That one was really sneaky, Matt, because of that 0 right there. A lot of kids don't transfer that 0 over. They wrote it. It's significant. We must have known that that was a 0. Convert. So I write down what they gave me. I build a fraction chain. I want seconds to cancel. I want milliseconds left behind, except I can't write this. Again, milli, that little m, is the same as 10 to the -3. Where's it going to go? In front of the unit where there is no milli. So it's going to be 3 times 10 to the negative 3 or 3 divided by 10 to the negative 3? 3,000 seconds? 3,000 milliseconds? Anybody write that in scientific notation? It'd be 3 times 10 to the third? And I'm fine if you did that, but I think it's easy to write 3,000. Is that right? Yes? Okay. 25 kilograms into milligrams. This is going to be a two-stepper. I'm going to do it over here. Once again, I'm going to start out writing what they gave me. I'm going to get rid of kilograms. That's going to be step 1. And then bring in milligrams. That's going to be step 2. So to get rid of kilograms, kilograms on the bottom, grams on the top. Kilo is 10 to the third. The 10 to the third goes where the letter isn't, where the kilo isn't. Don't try and memorize, does it go on the top or does it go on the bottom? Depends how you write the fraction. It goes where the metric prefix is not. Then I want grams to cancel. I want milligrams left behind and on the top. And so there's going to be a 10 to the negative 3. Where? Where the milli isn't. I get 25 times 10 to the third divided by 10 to the negative 3. I'm going to write this way. If you wrote 25 with 6 zeros, that's fine. I'm going to go to scientific notation because it's less writing. 2.5 times 10 to the 7th milligrams. Is that right? Yes? 1 mark. 1 year into seconds. Going to start out writing what they gave me. I don't know how many seconds are in a year. How many days are in a year? 365 days is 1 year. I don't know how many seconds are in a day. I know how many hours are in a day. 24 hours is 1 day. Do I know how many seconds are in an hour? I think this was the class where somebody said, yeah, I know that, Mr. Duick. Oh, I want hours to cancel. Seconds. They said there's 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. And by writing it that way, again, Catherine, it tells me the numbers on top mean I'm going to multiply. If there are any numbers on the bottom, I'm going to divide. It takes the guesswork out of, do I times or do I divide? I'm going to get 365 times 24 times 3,600. Do you get 31536 and then 3 zeros? Seconds. By the way, if you forgot the units on any of these, I would take a half mark off because I'm mean. Then I would go to the next page. You can give yourself a little score at 11 if you want to, but let's keep going. Okay. Correct number of sig figs. Yo. That's fine. 3.1 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. See, no matter what, I'm having to write the 3, the 1, the 5, the 3, and the 6. And so in my brain I said, you know what? 3 zeros is less writing than times 10 to the power of. Yeah, I actually think that lazily. Habit. Figs. We're multiplying 3 sig figs, 2 sig figs. I'm going to go to 2 sig figs. 1.25 times 0.50. 2 sig figs. It's going to be 3. 1 mark. Or 6.3 times 10 to negative 1. 3 sig figs, 4 sig figs. I'm going to round to 3 sig figs. You know what? Right there. 202. You could put a decimal there, because that's still 3 sig figs. It's unnecessary. You would really only put the decimal there if instead of a 202, I had a 200 even, and I wanted to show that that was 3 sig figs. 3 sig figs, 4 sig figs. I'm going to go to 3 sig figs. 4.37, scientific notation button 3 divided by 0.00856. I probably don't need to type that last 0, do I? 3 sig figs. Right there. Is it going to stay at 0 or become a 1? So I would take 511,000, or this is probably around where some people started writing in scientific notation, to the 5th. Yes? Let me double check. Yeah. Put the phone away. You're not that important. Yeah, you put it away. Put it away means face down or in your pocket. There you go. Adding. Ugh. By the way, it is sort of possible to do these in your head. This is 3 decimal places. This is 5 decimal places. I think I'm going to round to 3 decimal places, but I'll write it vertically over here. 38.002, 0.12378. Here's my guess. I'm going to round to that. 38.002 plus 0.12378. I'm going to round to the 3rd decimal place. Is this 5 going to stay a 5 or become a 6? I'm going to go 38.126. And then I'm going to make that 8 look like an 8 properly. 1 mark. Subtracting 2 decimal places, 1 decimal place. I think I'm going to actually go to 1 decimal place. But let's try it. 512.06. Make sure I hit takeaway on my calculator. 65.2. Looks like my first guess is there, so I'm going to round to there. 512.06, takeaway 65.2. 1 decimal place, 1 decimal. An 8 or become a 9? 9? Or is that a German student saying no? 9? No? Huh? No? Huh? No? Oh, come on, that was, okay. I speak a bit in German, so okay. 446.9. Is that okay? Well, write down what they gave me. 48. Can I use P for parrots? Apparently parrots and zebras. 1 zebra, 5 parrots. I'm going to put the ones in because it's weird. I'm going to just be really cautious. So that would give me zebras. And then apparently I can get zebras to cancel with monkeys. 1 zebra, 8 monkeys. And then I can get monkeys to cancel with gorillas. 6 monkeys, 1 gorilla. And then I can get gorillas to cancel with lions. 2 lions is 5 gorillas. And let me double check. Zebras cancels, yes. Monkeys cancels, yes. Gorillas cancels, and all I have left on the top for units is an L for lions. How many lions? Hey, this should work. I hope. 48 times 8 times 2 divided by 5 divided by 6 divided by 5. Do you get 5.12? Which I realize doesn't make sense because how would you have 5.12 lions? But I was just making up numbers. First of all, if you got that, and don't forget to write the units, which in this case are lions, 3 marks. If you forgot the units, I'd take a half mark off. Now, how do you get part marks? I would give you, I'd tell you, I'm kidding you not, 1 mark if you wrote down what they gave you, because that's what I taught you, okay? Put the headphone down so you're not tempted to put it in your ear. Thanks, Jace. I would give you 1 mark if you tried building a chain. Even if you got the chain wrong, I would give you 1 mark for saying, hey, I know that's the strategy. And then 1 mark for the answer. In other words, you can get the wrong answer and still get 2 out of 3. The only thing that ever annoys me on a test is leaving something blank. I give out part marks like crazy. I give out part marks if you know the concept, but I can't give out part marks if you leave something blank. Another strategy that I'll be teaching you is often if it's like a 2 or a 3-step question and you can't find the first thing, make up a reasonable answer for that first thing. Write a note to me, Mr. Dewick, I can't find the acceleration. I'm going to assume it's 5, and I'll show you that if I know the acceleration, I can find the distance and the velocity. I'll give you full marks for the rest of the question. I will. Graphing. By the way, how do I know all 4 of these are lines and not curves at a glance? Ooh, he even said it with mathy terms. He said they're all linear degree, 1 degree, and also no square roots or cosine or log or weird stuff. Okay. A, B, and D are in slope-intercept form. Why? Because the y's by itself. C I'll have to muck around with. A is nice, though. Let's see. I'll do this one in blue. Y-intercept is -4. If there is no scale, we're going to assume it goes up by ones, and I apologize. I forgot to toggle. I have a little graph program that makes graph paper, and I forgot to put the numbers on. Oops. Slope is up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1. That's right, yes? I hope. Get my trusty ruler out. Is that wrong? I hope not. I used to be good at this. Well. How about line B? I'll do in red. That's got a y-intercept of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the slope is down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. 1 mark for each of these. Really what I would do if you got it wrong is I would give you a half mark if you got the y-intercept right, and a half mark if you got the slope right, which if you get both right means you must have the right line. Right? Right. Right? Okay. Careful, careful, careful. Yoink. I kind of slid the ruler a bit, but it's close. C. I'll do that in black, and I'm going to have to do some work. I have to get the y by itself. So I'm starting out with 3x minus 2y equals 4. I'm going to move this to that side. And by the way, hopefully you've picked up by now, Tato, I'm organized and lazy. So that's actually how I would show that step. And then I would say to myself, how do I move it to that side? That's enough work for me. Did I remind myself that I subtracted? Sure. Did I have to rewrite the whole thing, or could I go straight to the next line? I kind of like, if I can, to go straight to the next line. But I think that was organized, and I can follow my work. Have I got the y by itself yet? No? Now what? So I get this. Y equals, what's a negative divided by a negative? Are you positive? And then I have positive 4 divided by negative 2 minus 2. Now I can graph y-intercept of negative 2, up 3 over 2, up 3 over 2, up 3 over 2. Is that right? I hope. Your ruler. Sometimes helps. D. D. What's the y-intercept of D? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's the slope of D? 0. And I got to be fussy. It's not no slope. No slope or undefined slope would be a vertical line. And it is easy to get it confused because everyone sees y equals and they think y-axis. Shouldn't it be vertical? But I'm arguing no. It can't be vertical because there's no x. There's 0 x's. The slope is 0. So a y equals line actually is a horizontal line. And we're going to run into that quite a bit next unit. We call this the constant function, and it tells us an awful lot about something that's occurring. I forgot to label that one with a C, and then we label this one with a D. 1 mark for each of those. Okay. Then, finding an equation, line A. Well, they're all going to be based on this template, y equals mx plus b. Are the axes labeled with any other letters? Say no. So I'm going to use y and x. But if they had labeled, for example, like there's a little y there, if they had labeled that with d, I'd use d instead of y. If they had labeled that t for time, I'd use t instead of x. Or if they labeled that I for current and V for voltage, I'd use their letters. But for now, It's going to be straight y equals mx plus b. So line A is going to be y equals, b is negative 5, yes? And the slope is up 1 over 1, up 1 over, 1x minus 5. Do I have to put a 1 there in front of the x? Or if I do that, is it understood that there's an invisible 1? I'm good with that too. Let me just write this so it's a little closer. So y equals x minus, for getting the x, half mark for getting the minus 5. If you forgot the x, I would take a half mark off, because often kids write the slope and they forget to tag the x onto it. Line B, y equals, I'm going to put the negative right away so I don't forget, because it is downhill, and Lord knows I've forgotten that a few times. What's the slope? Looks like it goes down 3 over 2, and the y-intercept is plus 5, is that right? So again, half mark, half mark. Can you give yourself a lovely score at the top of your quiz out of 25, please?